Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about how the Houston Rockets are the hottest team in the NBA right now, and it's not even close. The Houston Rockets have won 7 games in a row, and last night came back from a 25-point deficit against the Philadelphia 76ers. I know the Philadelphia 76ers are terrible. They got a pretty much G League squad and Quentin Grimes. I can't put up a bunch of excuses why the Rockets were down 25 points in the first place, but here's the thing I will say. If you watched that game for the first, I would say the first 26 minutes of the ball game, because Philadelphia was hot for about the first 2 minutes, where the Rockets were down 88-63 with 10 minutes left, I think a lot of teams would be down big if they faced how hot the 76ers were. You had Quentin Grimes hitting shots and it wasn't just him. There were other guys hitting huge shots. I mean, it was unbelievable. If you watched it, the announcers were in shock because, you couldn't get Philadelphia to cool off. And eventually the Rockets did, and that was the big factor. It's not like it was a game where the Rockets came into the game and they were just dry offensively if it was like that, I would say, okay, this is not an impressive win. But it's not like it was a game where the Rockets were just complete trash in the first half. Like, here's a good for instance. If you look at the Brooklyn loss, the Rockets, when they lost the Brooklyn Nets, that was such a terrible loss. Offensively, they were horrendous in that game. I'm not talking about the game in Brooklyn where they screwed it up. I'm talking about the home loss against Brooklyn. That was nuts. It was really bad. And offensively, it was terrible. It's not like they lost to a bad team like Brooklyn where, Brooklyn was just red hot. Brooklyn wasn't even that good. The Rockets were that terrible when they faced Brooklyn. This was a different thing. Philly was amazing, on fire. Like, the Rockets weren't even that bad offensively. They had almost 60 points at halftime. They had 57 at the end of the half. That's not that bad. But Philly was just... It was their best game. It was the best first half they've had all season. It was the most points, the most threes they've hit in a first half this season. I think it was the most threes they've hit in a game this season. It was Quentin Grimes, the most points he's ever had in his career. If anybody, there are a bunch of teams in this league, good teams, that if they would have faced with the shots they were hitting, they would be down a lot too. But yeah, the Rockets got it together. They really started to turn things on. I think they shot something like 9 for 13 or 9 for 12, something like that from 3 in that third quarter. It was amazing. And it got to the point where they were down 88-63 with 10 minutes left. It was tied 102-102 at the end of the third. And that wasn't the only Rockets comeback, because Brooklyn goes on this 10-0 run to start out the fourth quarter, and the Rockets were down 112-102, and it felt like it was the same thing was happening again, and the Rockets kept coming back in this game. For instance, the fact that they were down 129-121 with about 56 seconds left in the game, and still somehow scored 8, then would go on to score 10 points in the last 56 seconds of the game and outscore Philadelphia in the last minute of the ball game 10-2 and send this game to overtime. So look, I don't care who this was against, to be honest, because I think with no matter who the game was against, being down 25 points in a basketball game is hard, no matter who you're facing. And when you got a team like the Rockets who this season have been a poor three-point shooting team, it makes it even harder to come back and have a comeback when you're down 25 points. But the Rockets somehow started shooting great from three in this game, made 21 threes, shot 42% from three, and that was a key factor. Now, but it's not just like Philadelphia was the only win they've had recently. They've won 7 games in a row. They've been clicking recently, and I know that they've had a little bit of an easy schedule, but let's not act like the Rockets have played amazing versus teams that have been bad this year. They haven't. They've struggled against bad teams this year, and honestly, if you look before, they weren't even playing that well before this 7-game stretch. So I think no matter who they're winning against, I think they're good wins. Like, I know that start off 2 games against New Orleans, they're terrible, but you do got Zion healthy. That's another thing to consider. They had CJ McCollum on the floor as well, and the Rockets weren't fully healthy either. And then you also then beat Orlando, who just literally beat Cleveland, and So yes, I know Orlando's bad offensively, but there's two good defensive teams. When two good defensive teams like the Rockets and Magic face off against each other, and two teams who can be very bad offensively, Orlando is way worse offensively than the Rockets, but they are two teams that can be bad offensively. You never know what's going to happen. I think it makes it a hard matchup for the Rockets, and they were able to beat the crap out of Orlando by like 15 points. Then they beat Phoenix. I know Phoenix record isn't good, but I don't care. Any team that has Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, even though they're not clicking and they're not winning a lot of basketball games, they're capable of beating good teams. And the Rockets were able to beat them. And then I'm not going to make any excuses for beating Dallas. I mean, the Dallas had like 7 players. That's an easy win. I'm not going to hype that win up at all, but the Rockets beat Dallas. And then the Rockets faced the Bulls. And look, facing the Bulls were red hot. The Bulls won 4 games in a row. The Rockets were facing a really good Bulls team, or at least they were, really good at that time, winning 4 in a row, and the Rockets took them down. And even though they were shorthanded and, without Tari Eason and Amen Thompson, still beat the Bulls. And then we saw last night, and it's 7 wins in a row. And I know these are some easier opponents for this Rockets team, but let's remember most of this stretch of games have been without a huge part of this team in Amen Thompson. Tari Eason's missed a couple of the games of these last couple games, and or the 7-game stretch, he's missed a couple. I know he missed the game against Chicago. You know what? Chicago might have been the only game he missed, but I thought there was another game he missed throughout this 7-game stretch. But you've been without Amen Thompson for most of this stretch, and that's been tough. And had to beat Chicago without Tari and Amen. So, yeah, I mean, and there have been a couple games where Steven Adams has also missed, and he's been. I think that's been another huge part of the way this Rockets team has had success lately is pairing the Alperen Şengün and Steven Adams double big lineup. That has been huge for this Rockets team. And Jalen Green's been big for this Rockets team. He's really started to click it recently. He had a career high in assists last night with 12 assists. He was amazing last night. Shooting wasn't amazing, but he had a great game. Defensively made the biggest play of the night for the Rockets with his steal, and he was huge last night. Alperen Şengün was amazing last night, even though he only played 22 minutes, which was, don't even get me started on that. Şengün needs to play more than 22 minutes in a game. That goes to overtime. Jabari Smith Jr. had his best game of the season on the anniversary of his buzzer beater against the Pelicans from 2 years ago. Jabari had 30 points, shot like 5 for 7 from 3, he had the best miss of his season, tapping it to, getting the basketball to Alperen Şengün on the miss. But he had so many threes to bring the Rockets back into the game. He had a 3 that when the Rockets were down 6. The Rockets were down 6 points, 129 to 123. Needed a huge 3 to cut the lead to 3, and was just amazing. Hit a 3 for the Rockets in overtime to, make it a 6-point lead, 140, 134. And he's had his good games throughout the last 7 games as well. And Tari Eason's been great. He had a career high the other night against Dallas. He had a great game last night as well. And the Rockets have been really playing good basketball lately, and they have the biggest winning streak in the NBA. It's not even close. The only teams that come close to the Rockets in winning streaks is, I think it's Minnesota and Oklahoma City with 3. It's the Clippers and Oklahoma City who only have 3 games one in a row. Cleveland lost their big winning streak to Orlando the other day. That was at 16. Golden State and Minnesota's winning streaks were snapped last night by Indiana and Denver. So that meant that the Rockets then have the biggest winning streak in the NBA, and they're the hottest team in the NBA right now. So let me know your thoughts on the Rockets, the way they're playing basketball recently. That's a video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.